For me, I think the biggest thing that football taught me was how to overcome adversity.
At some point in your life, you're going to have some tough times.
You have to have that next play mentality.
That cohesiveness and that working together, that's really something special that you can't get in a lot of other areas.
When you practice that and you live that in other phases of your life, it becomes second nature because all you know how to do is fight.
It's not an easy game. If it were easy, everyone would do it.
You start to appreciate the smaller contributions that people make. You don't just look at the big one because you knew it took 6 or 7 other guys who are unsung.
And you can't take shortcuts and be successful.
Doing what they do to make it possible for the guy getting the press clippings or whatever it might be.
In this game, whether it's as a coach or a player.
So I would certainly say that you definitely got a very quick lesson in how to overcome adversity playing football.
Welcome to another edition of Talking Ball with the Czar. Memory Hunt, the Czar of the Playbook, here on the campus of North Carolina Central University with head football coach Jerry Mack. Coach, appreciate you taking time.
No problem, thank you.
Your team has gotten better each and every season. You had a share of the MEAC title for the last 3 years, winning an outright MEAC title last year, birthed in the Celebration Bowl, which is a great game, by the way. How has this season or this journey, your first stint as a head coach, been for you both professionally and personally? And how have you been able to get the guys here to buy into the same message each and every year, because we both know how hard that is to do?
I think it's been a great journey, first of all. Just me from a professional standpoint, just my journey as far as my career, starting off as a graduate assistant and kind of just working my way up the chain as an offensive coordinator and then to be a head football coach. I've coached pretty much every position on the offensive side of the ball except the offensive line. So just from a journey as far as learning about the game through different coaches and different people I've had a chance to work under, they've taught me an entire lot. From a personal standpoint, to be a head football coach is a lot of responsibility, and not only just with your family. You have your university, you have the young men that you coach on a day-to-day basis. You have a responsibility to everybody to make sure you put this program in the best situation possible. I tell everybody all the time, I'm merely the gatekeeper of North Carolina Central University program. We have a lot of people from administration, from fans and alumni that have trusted me and put me in a position that I don't take lightly in order to make this program successful. As far as buying in and trying to make sure that our young men on a day-to-day basis buy into what we're doing, I think it all starts with tradition. We talk about tradition never dies. And, we were able to start something special here in 2014. And these young men, they really bought in. That group of guys that really weren't our guys. They were a group of guys that were already, a lot of them were already on the roster. Then we brought in about 12 or 13 guys that contributed that year in 2014. And then, they just built their foundation, and we built that pride and that blue-collar organization type of attitude in our program. And then it carried on in 2015. Even in 2015, we had to overcome so many different adversities with, accidents and deaths like that in the off season, and then going into the season, having a lot of different injuries. They found a way to overcome adversity and get through. And then this past year, 2016, it just kind of all came together. Every year we had a different motto or a different slogan going into the season. And this past year, it was our tradition, our legacy. And we wanted to make sure that those guys that started the journey with us back in 2014, that they closed their careers out the right way.
You kind of tied into my second question when you mentioned, your background. You were an assistant a lot of years before you obviously got the head coaching job. You were a wide receiver in college. Right. You played in the old Sun Belt Conference back in the day. And here's the thing. When you look at, let's say for me, I look at it from my position as a running back forward. Mm-hmm. How has your outside in approach as a receiver helped develop your strategy as a head coach? Because you get teams turned around offensively in a hurry. Like teams go from last to top 2 in their conference or their division. How has that outside approach helped you as a head coach?
I think the biggest thing is where I really started my journey. When I first started as a graduate assistant, they allowed me to coach the running backs. And therefore, I had to come out of my comfort zone. And I think that's really what being a coordinator is all about, especially if you didn't have a chance to play the quarterback position. I think you have to learn the different parts and different facets of every position on that offense side of the ball if you want to have a chance really to be successful. So I got a chance to coach the running backs, and that's when I really started to learn more about the protection piece to it, how to protect the quarterback. And then as far as the running back position, just the different intricacies of playing the running back position. I had to learn how to teach that and coach that. I got a chance to go back to my roots and coach the receivers after I left Delta State University. And then from then on, I really started to tone in more so on the passing game. I was able to go and be a pass game coordinator. And then when I got my first opportunity to be an offensive coordinator, I had worked with the running backs, the tight ends. I had really trained and learned to study my craft to try to learn offensive line play. So I think I put a lot of it together. So then when I had the opportunity to be a head football coach, my philosophy and everything that I learned, I really knew that building a program was really about inside out. So that's how we tried to build our programs wherever I've been, as far as a coordinator or now as a head coach at North Carolina Central. I tried to build our offense from inside out. You know, when they say the game is won in the trenches, that's the reality of it. If we can't protect the quarterback, if we can't get movement up front, there's no way we're going to have any success moving the football. So we try to do a great job of making sure we recruit the right type of offensive linemen. They don't always have to be the taller guys. They can be athletic guys. And we try to cater that to our scheme to whatever our personnel is. Well, we're always probably going to be a spread kind of tempo type team. That's just kind of, who we are and what we do. But there will be years that we may have to run the ball a little bit more. There may be years we have to pass the ball a little bit more. We just got to do a great job of being creative in that aspect. Fortunately, we've been able to kind of be on track as far as what we want to do offensively here at North Carolina Central. Having success winning football games allows us to recruit a certain type of quarterback or a certain type of offensive lineman or receiver that we would like to feature in our package. So I think it's really more about studying the craft and understanding, even though I played the receiver position, understanding how all facets of that work together to be successful on offense.
Well, what's interesting is that, your center for the last couple of years, Carl Jones, outstanding. And being at that game against Grambling, certain things I noticed about your football team, you have a lot of smart football players, guys that are able to make adjustments on the fly. Jones has free range to make the change at the line of scrimmage, obviously being the center. Right. Malcolm Bell doing his thing, reading coverages and finding the right guy, whether it's completed or not, but he's finding the right guy. Is being a smart football player something that you really hone in on when you go out and recruit?
There's no doubt about it. We here in North Carolina Central, we have what we have. We have what we call football school. Really, probably in January for about 4 weeks, January all through, and then going into February. And during that time, we really focus on the classroom fundamental part of the game. And I mean, that's everything from, how many people need to be on the line of scrimmage to ball security, just those little small things. And then we start to get a little bit more in the guts and the meats and potatoes of our offensive and defensive schemes, as far as, now this is where we align our alignment, our assignment. And then we start talking about the execution as we start getting into spring football in the month of March. So we try to do a really great job of training them throughout the month of January and February about just basic football knowledge, situational football. Third downs, red zones, score zones, 2-minute drill, those type of things. We try to do a great job of making sure they understand the sense of urgency and what needs to be at the height of awareness during those times in the course of the game. We've been in a lot of situations over the last few years that 2-minute drill has really won us some games. Then we've been in situations where we had to really tighten down on defense in the red zone and the score zone and hold people to field goals as opposed to touchdowns. That is a true testament, a true compliment to what we've been able to teach them in the months of January and February. That is nothing that we really talk about all the time during the course of the week, even though we work those situations during the course of the season, during the week, game week. But you got to have a foundation. You have to have a base to pull from and draw from, and that's what we try to do in January and February. So when we get into the months of September and October, we can pull back from those experiences that we had in those months, and then also too in spring football, we do a lot of those types of things, because really that's where the game of football is all about. Can I stop somebody on third down? Can I stop them from scoring a touchdown? Can we put together a drive with a minute and 15 seconds left on the clock to have an opportunity to win this football game? I would love to sit here and say that we're going to beat everybody by 21 points, but that's just not the reality of it. The reality of it is it's going to be some tough times. We're going to have some situations in the course of a game where we're going to have to rely on some things that we have learned through football school back in those early part of the year.
I think a lot of the focuses from people tends to solely focus on the players, from an inspirational standpoint to motivational standpoint, like what music you listen to, what gets you up going. But I think it's so important for coaches because you guys are here longer than the players. And it also helps you guys avoid getting burned out. We've heard stories all the time. Dick Vermeil is the most famous one of a guy getting burned out and leaving coaching. So what inspires you or what keeps you motivated to keep this thing going?
Well, I've always been more of a football junkie. And I think not only just from our coach, my personally, but also our coaching staff. I think anytime your coaches get a chance to go out and they get a chance to visit different places and they get a chance to see how different people do it, run their program, or scheme, talk, X's and O's football, even your director of football operations, when they get a chance to go out and they get a chance to visit and see how different programs run and operate on a day-to-day basis, I think that it has a little resurgence, a little different type of energy when they come back and they want to put to use those types of things within their own program. So, I try to do a good job of making sure our coaches and myself, we get out and we go visit different people and we go study different people to just kind of see what they're doing, because it's pretty exciting when you get a chance to bring a new idea back to your program and implement it and to see if it's really going to work for you. So we do a good job of getting out and trying to learn different things. I think also too, you have to try to do a great job of managing your time throughout the season. We don't try to come in too late or too early during the course of the season or even in the off season. We want to make sure we get in here and we get our work done. I really want the coaches to get home to their families and be able to spend some time, especially in the off season, with their kids and with their wives and things like that, because I know if it's happy at home, it's going to be happy at work. I really want those guys to do that. We try to make sure that we give the wives an opportunity and the kids an opportunity to travel with us a little during the course of the season as well, because those coaches are here all times of the night and day throughout the week. And then usually on Thursday, I try to let those guys get out of here a little bit earlier, just so they can get home with their families and their wives and things like that. So I think it's important that you try to manage that throughout the course of the season. Just from a motivational standpoint, people that I listen to, and talk to and things like that. I love listening to, Eric Thomas, the motivational speaker. I also enjoy reading books like John Maxwell, just different ways, he presents leadership and things like that. Those things are important to me because they give me a different type of focus or a different type of idea. I don't really have a lot of hobbies. That's what I mean by I'm a football junkie. I love watching film. I love watching different people throughout the course of the season, just different schemes and what people are doing to just evolve with the game. I think that's what helps you as a coach evolve. Right now I'm still predominantly young in the game, but as I get older, the game is going to evolve, the game is going to change. And it's important not only from an X and O standpoint to keep up with the things on the cutting edge, but also from a recruiting standpoint. The game is just constantly evolving and social media is helping the game change as well. So you really want to stay on top of everything so you can have a cutting edge, and so you can have any kind of edge you can get in this game is really important.
One of my favorite questions I always ask coaches, because like you say you're a football junkie, and I tend to draw inspiration from guys I come in contact with, coaches I come in contact with, and I always ask what's their coaching philosophy, or what's something that you say, here's one piece of my foundation that I think is important to why we do what we do here at NCCU.
Right. I think when I first got into the game, it was a lot of different things or reasons why I got into the game, and that maybe to make money, or because I enjoyed to be around the kids, or just because I just really didn't want to leave the game. So there were a lot of things floating around when I first started my career. But I think over the course of time, these last 12, 13 years, I've developed a certain type of philosophy, and I understand more so than I understood 12 years ago the importance of developing the entire student athlete. So if I had to pick one piece as far as what my coaching philosophy really is about, it's about making sure that these young men have an overall perspective on what the game of football can offer on and off the field. The biggest thing is, you get a young man, he's 17, 18 years old. He comes into college. He really doesn't know what he wants to do, in his career. He doesn't have really a plan as far as what he wants to do post-grad. He's just kind of, I'm going to the NFL. Mm-hmm. And we're trying to get that mindset to change a little bit. Why not own the NFL team? Why not become the general manager of an NFL team? I think the Celebration Bowl did a great job of exposing our young people to different opportunities in professional sports outside of just playing and coaching. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of different other avenues you can go into. We try to make sure, whether it's a Greek fraternity or whatnot, they do, if that's something that they really aspire to do. Obviously you got to make sure your academics is on point. Today, I'm not opposed to that. Student government, other organizations on campus, all those kinds of things help develop the overall student athlete, because the reality whatever it is, they're not all going to the NFL. So they have to develop a certain type of skill set, and they have to develop a certain type of network and people that they can lean on once their 4 to 5 years is done playing college football. And no better time than while they're playing, when they have exposure, when they have access to all these different things, to go ahead and take advantage of it. So I would say, right now, as far as what we're trying to get within our program, we're trying to make sure that, when they leave our program at 22, 23 years old, they have a certain set of skills that they can use in the real world that allows them to be successful.
Are you seeing that at what point in their career do you see that light come on for them mentally, like, okay, I get it now, and their focus start to change?
Oh, it's so different. You see some guys as true freshmen, after they go through our life after football program that first year and the resume building and the interviewing skills, they really start to really want more internships in the summertime. Sometimes it's that senior year. It's right before that senior year where they get ready to play, that they start to really get serious about making sure that they graduate. We've done a great job, I think, that putting guys in position to be graduate students and still have another year of eligibility. We probably got about 4 to 5 guys on our roster right now that's really going to be graduating either in December or they're going to be in graduate school, but they're still going to have a chance to participate and be on roster in 2017. So those are kind of things that make me proud and I'm excited about when you can try to develop young people and get them to see, if you make a commitment to going to school for 4 years and in the summertime piece, it helps your program, it helps them as well get ahead academically. If you make a commitment to doing that, the sky's the limit.
Coach, we're obviously here at North Carolina Central University, one of the premier HBCU programs, historically black colleges and universities. And to me, I think that's a huge honor. I grew up in the South I grew up in New Orleans where you had Southern down the street, you had Dillard University, Xavier in New Orleans, and then you had Grambling up the road in North Louisiana. So I know the significance of it from a personal level, but for those that may not be familiar with the coaching side of it, how significant is it for you to be coaching here at a historically black college and university?
Oh, it's extremely significant. When you think about the prestige and the history that has happened here in North Carolina Central on this campus and the different type of people that have walked through these doors and walked this campus, it just makes you proud to say that, you're a part of something as significant as that. I think the biggest thing when you look at our university that's really impressive is our class sizes and how important that the teachers take ownership in their students. If I had any kind of recruiting pitch to any kind of young man, it would be about you're going to be around a group of people that really care about setting you up for success, whether that's coaches, administrators, and just regular professors or teachers that walk the campus day to day. There isn't a time that we walk by or on campus that certain teachers don't grab us and say that our young men are performing well or they're making our program really proud by the way they're responding to different situations in the classroom. And I think that doesn't happen on every campus. I do not think that if you're at Ohio State or you're at Michigan, those are really, really large campuses. And sometimes you can kind of get lost in the shuffle. And that is great programs and that's a great university, but that is not the situation for everybody. That's not a great fit for everybody. And I think when you look at our universities, we're a little bit smaller university, a little bit more personal touch. I think some people and I think some kids nowadays especially, they need that personal touch. And I'm just proud to be a part of it where I can provide some kind of guidance to those young people and give them that personal touch.
Well, you mentioned it, and I was personally there to see just how you guys carry yourselves at Media Day at the Celebration Bowl. Notice how guys came in prepared, gave great answers. So I guess I kind of want to ask, what does the North Carolina Central student athlete look like, and what would you look for if I was out there as a high school senior looking to make a choice? What would I get from coming to North Carolina Central?
I think it goes back to what we talk about. You're going to leave here with a certain set of skills that's going to allow you to be successful. We do a lot of things within our program to try to make sure from a communication standpoint and from a media development training that we try to put our guys up, set them up for success. So they understand how to carry themselves. They understand how to talk to the media. They understand how to talk to future employers and things like that. I think a North Carolina Central student athlete is someone that is articulate and they can carry themselves in a respectful manner. Are they going to make all the right decisions all the time? Well, who does? But I do think they're going to make way more right decisions than they are wrong decisions in the grand scheme of things.
Well, Coach, I definitely wish you the best luck this season. Thank you for taking time.
No problem. Thank you.
No problem.